Hello, everyone. Welcome again to another Teacher Joseph podcast. For those of you playing Whamageddon, you might not like the headline news, which is sweeping across the UK today. The Guardian is reporting that Wham, with the song Last Christmas, is now top of the music charts again. For those of you who don't know, the music chart is the top 40, the top selling music in a particular week or month. And The Guardian is reporting that Wham have returned to the UK number one spot with Last Christmas appearing as number one. The song is now 40 years old and is celebrating its 40th anniversary this month. And it says here that it's nabbed the top spot. You might remember nabbed. We've spoken about this before. To nab is to take or to quickly take a position. So, for example, if I see a chicken in the shop this week, I might think, oh, I'm going to nab that because by next week it might be gone. You know, we always have problems of logistics at Christmas time and buying meat because there isn't meat available. Right. So they've nabbed the top spot. Nabbing is sometimes used particularly with things like illness, where if you're ill, you might say, oh, I'm going to nab this quickly before it gets any worse. And you go and you buy yourself some medication. Or, oh, my friend insulted me, I'm going to nab him about that. It means I'm going to quickly put a stop to this before it gets any worse. To nab, to take. Right, let's just continue here. This story says that Do They Know It's Christmas also features George Michael. And in 1984, 40 years ago, when Last Christmas came out, Last Christmas didn't do so well. In fact, Do They Know It's Christmas kept it away from number one. Let me say that again. It's a little bit garbled, wasn't it? What I'm trying to say here is when the song Last Christmas first came out, it couldn't reach number one because of Do They Know It's Christmas, which was the other song which George Michael was in. But anyway, that problem doesn't exist today because Last Christmas is indeed number one. And apparently this week it has knocked Gracie Abrams with a song called That's So True into second place. No idea who that is, Gracie Abrams. She was supporting Taylor Swift in her European tour. I still don't know who that is, Taylor Swift. I mean, really, I'm just not that kind of a person. It says here, a documentary about this song will be shown on BBC Two tonight, featuring new interviews. Okay, so a documentary about Last Christmas will be shown on the BBC tonight. Just to warn you about that, because, of course, if you are still playing Whamageddon, you want to avoid all these kind of things. Whamageddon, as you know, is a game where you must avoid the song Last Christmas for the Christmas period from the 1st of December up to the 24th. And if they're having a documentary about the song tonight, oh, that's not good. Oh, look, in this documentary tonight, Pepsi and Shirley will be there. Oh, they must be quite old by now, Pepsi and Shirley. Bob Geldof and Neil Tennant. You remember him, Neil Tennant. He was one of the Pet Shop Boys. So they'll all be in this documentary that's on BBC Two this evening. Looking through some of the headlines here, it really is rough. And this is why I'm a little bit concerned about continuing going over news stories with you, because it's getting harder and harder to find positive stories. I mean, of course, there are always little funny stories, in our media, but just in general, in looking around, everything is very, very depressing. And I don't want to be reading depressing news. I'd rather tell you something funny. So yeah, there's a little bit of work to be done on my side, just to refine these weekly lessons to bring you something that is actually worth reading. Because, for example, the news headlines today, there's everything from war, drama, company news, environmental news, our post office scandal, bee killing. Yes, that's right. There's an issue with our bees, those things which sting you. There's also celebrities who are talking about private parts of their lives, which is bizarre. There just doesn't seem to be very much here that's positive. And that's a bit of a concern for someone like me who wants to read you news stories. So I'm just looking through just generally to see the kind of things that I could tell you about, but there really isn't much. And that is a little bit of a worry. So I don't know exactly how I'll be doing these podcasts in January, but no doubt I'll find something to talk about. There's no problem with that. I definitely will be here telling you something about British life. Yeah, so that's the story of today. Yeah, George Michael and Andrew Ridgeley back in the charts at number one after 40 years. I wonder where that money goes. I mean, George Michael wrote the song. He's dead. So the money must go somewhere that they raise. If everyone's buying that song, who gets the cash? Is that the music company? George Michael's estate? It's a little bit strange, isn't it? I don't know how that works. Of course, the other man from Wham, Andrew Ridgeley, he is still around, so I don't know what happens to money from songs like that. And I'm only asking not because I'm so concerned about it. I'm just curious. I wouldn't like to think that the money all gets wrapped into some kind of music mogul's pockets, but it's never clear, especially in these kind of cases, where the money actually goes. I suppose after some time, the song will drop from copyright and it'll be in the public domain, I suppose. A bit like the old Christmas carols. Those are the Christmas songs that British people sing. By the way, speaking of Christmas things, I'm not sure if you know this, but at Christmas time, British people, we love to eat certain kinds of sweets. The most popular ones are those tins. You can get a metal tin, although I think most of them are plastic now, of Quality Street. And there's another one which we can get called Carberry's Roses. If you've ever been in the UK, you probably know that at Christmas time we go absolutely crazy buying Carberry's Roses or Quality Street for the office. It's quite common if you work in an office, to see a tin of sweets and people kind of gravitate to it because, work is usually very boring for some people anyway, and the eating helps you forget. It's rather cruel, because, some people shouldn't be eating these things, and it takes a lot of resistance not to wander over to the box in the corner as you're passing by to eat some chocolates. Well, those cans, or tins, I should say, of sweets, Quality Street, celebrations, or roses, is a tradition in millions of households as well. If you go to any house at Christmas, there will be a tub or a tin or a plastic container with all these sweets in there. But the favorite ones, the reasons why we go to these sweets is because they have very particular ones which are delicious. For example, in Quality Street, the purple sweet, I don't know what they actually call it. It probably has a name, but those things really are the sweetest and the most delicious, and British people love them. But the most favourite sweets of those tubs are beginning to disappear. And there's a headline in the newspaper today which begins with Inequality Street, where prized treats like the green triangles and Maltesers are disappearing. And this newspaper, The Guardian, it took the 3 most popular Christmas boxes and started to count them. And they're saying that, the most popular sweets now are in short supply. And indeed, these boxes of chocolates, they don't have so many things in them as they did in the past. They're saying here that in a 600-gram tub, I've no idea what that is, it's the metric system, 600 grams, no idea. In each of the 5 boxes of chocolates that they bought, orange cremes, which is a type of orange sweet, appeared 4 times compared to an average of 8 in the past. The purple ones, that's those delicious ones I was talking about, it's saying that they've started to vanish as well, not so many of those. And there's a big, it's called the Purple Patch, apparently. They're saying here that these boxes are now carefully designed so that you'll go looking for these sweets elsewhere, because the Purple Patch is being sold separately now by the same company that makes the Quality Streets. I think it's Quality Street they're in. I could be wrong there. It could be Roses. But anyway, my point is this. There aren't as many of these delicious sweets as there were in the past. And British people are getting a little bit upset about that. And there we are. That's it from me for today. So those are some of the headlines for today. Right, I'll see you again soon. Have a wonderful day. Remember, no weekly lessons now until January, so you can relax with some video clips and some other things relating to Christmas that I'll be doing over the coming days. See you. Take care. Bye.